Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kate, I make videos about books and bookish things, and today I've got a book haul for you. I haven't done one of these in a little while, and that is because, frankly, now I can't say I've been good about not buying books, because actually I have been buying books and just not reading many of them, but as many a wise booktuber has said, buying books and reading them are two completely separate hobbies, and these are second-hand books anyway. So about a week ago I went to stay with my lovely university friend Matt, and as a day trip during one of the days I was there, we went to Astley Book Farm coffee shop and yurt, which is the largest second-hand bookshop in the Midlands, and we spent about 4 hours there, including getting lunch, and it was a really lovely day. Many purchases were made, and I can highly recommend going there just to look around if you are in the Midlands area and just want a really nice old building that smells of old books with pretty, you know, antique looking hardcovers and things to look at, because it was just magnificent, and as a result I made a lot of purchases. So that is what I'm going to show you today. I've got my lovely paper bag of them here. Let's go through them. So the first book I have to show you is in fact not a book, nor is it actually for me. It is Suddenly Last Summer by Tennessee Williams, which I found as I was going through, as you would expect, the play section. So I got quite lucky in spotting this because, as I'm sure you can tell, it is a very thin, very light coloured volume, but as soon as I pulled it out and saw Tennessee Williams, I snapped a picture of it and sent it to another of my university friends who was my co-director for Angels in America last term, and as a result of doing such a long play and long project together, I learned that he is a very big Tennessee Williams fan, so I spotted this and just sent him a photo to be like, look, it's your favourite white boy. And he promptly responded, where did you find that? I've been looking for a copy for such a long time and haven't been able to find one, and I just went, listen, it's like £3, I'll just pick it up for you. So yeah, not a purchase for me, but one I was very happy to make anyway, and will be passing on to a friend as soon as I possibly can. Next is poetry. Most of what I bought here was either plays or poetry, to nobody's surprise, and it is a lovely £1 volume of John Dryden's poetry. So at some point in the last academic year I read All for Love by John Dryden, which is a retelling of Antony and Cleopatra that fundamentally rewired my brain. This was not even required reading, this was additional reading I was doing for an essay, and it took me out. I enjoyed it so much. But as a result I've been trying to read more stuff by John Dryden, and I actually haven't touched his poetry yet. So for £1, what was I gonna do? Say no? And it's got nice watercolour art on the cover. But yeah, poetry. Okay, so as much as this was a second-hand bookshop, there were a few, you know, brand new books for sale, and I did in fact pick up a couple of them. This is one of them, Modernism's A Graphic Guide, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, is a graphic guide to modernism. I am planning on doing at least part of my dissertation, which I have to do next year, on modernist writing, specifically modernist poetry. And so I figured having a little guide to modernism that would be probably easier to access than my notes some of the time, and that would give me a broader overview of not just the literary side of things, but the general artistic value of modernism, and also with a very well-referenced bibliography at the back, would probably do me the world of good. So I did also pick this up, even though it is not what the Lord intended when I stepped into a second-hand bookshop. I've got more poetry to show you, I'm sorry, you're going to be desperately disappointed if you were hoping for novels on this one, but this is The Wasteland and Other Poems by T.S. Eliot. Again, I really enjoyed my modernism module last year, and one of the things that we read for it was The Wasteland, as well as The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, which is one of my favourite poems ever. Kate Law time. I did not actually discover this poem on my own. It is because it is a major part of Words in Deep Blue by Cath Crowley, which is one of my favourite books. But as a result of that book, I then went and read the actual poem and went, oh my god, this poem has changed the course of my existence. And so I've been really wanting to get it in a physical form rather than just reopening Poetry Foundation every 1 to 2 months to have a reread of J. Alfred Prufrock, but now I have my own copy and it's got more poems in it. Here we get to some of my actual second-hand, and not just second-hand, but very nice purchases that I got exclusively for the vibes. In this lovely red hardcover is the ancient Greek copy of the Bacchae by Euripides. I produced a production of the Bacchae last year, not the one just passed, but in my first year of university, and it was so much fun, and I am consequently obsessed with the Bacchae, as I'm sure you are not surprised to hear. But when I saw this lovely, clearly someone's classics schoolwork copy in there, so, you know, it's got someone's school crest and their name, I couldn't find a date on it, so I can't tell you exactly how old it is, but my favourite part is that this was clearly owned by not just one, but 2 students, because there are little annotations in it, in at least 2 different handwritings. Some in pencil, some in pen, but by different people. And so, although I cannot read ancient Greek, although I have never studied the classics formally, I absolutely love this for the little piece of sort of anthropological history that it is, that someone had to study this and then someone else did and bought another student's copy, because that is so cool. And yeah, it's going to sit up there with my very old copy of Macbeth, and they're going to be very good friends with each other. Here's another just very nice looking old book that I picked up, blue this time, but again with a beautiful gold font. This one instead is Modern Plays. Am I holding you upside down? Yeah. Modern Plays. The irony, of course, being that because this says Modern Plays, what it actually ends up meaning is modernist plays. These were written in probably the early 1900s. Look at that title page though. Modern one-act plays though, and I figured, being an absolute theatre nerd, it would be really interesting to see what was considered a contemporary play at this much, much earlier point in history, and I love a one-act play. I would love to be able to stage more things that don't take me 6 months of directing, so I thought this would be really nice, and it's just a very beautiful copy. Got 2 more new copies of things, and nobody is surprised to learn that when I saw they had some nice and individual Shakespeares, I picked up Antony and Cleopatra, and As You Like It. I got my favourite comedy and my favourite tragedy in individual editions, because I have a complete works of Shakespeare, but it is up in my university home because I used it for university and because it weighs about 10 tonnes. Although now is also the time to tell you that one of the other things that I kind of half bought is that me and my friend Matt now share custody of a beautiful, beautiful copy of the complete works of Shakespeare. It is black, leather bound with little gold page tips, also is illustrated, and it's just lovely. We both saw it and kind of instantly went, well, if you're not getting it, I'm getting it. What do you mean you want to get it? And so we agreed to split the £5 cost, and currently Matt is taking care of it. Penultimate thing that I picked up is Life, Love and the Archers by Wendy Cope. I thought this was a volume of poetry actually when I purchased it, because as you can tell, I got sort of imbued with the spirit of just buying books, and so I was just kind of picking things up if they took my fancy, as opposed to if I was certain I was going to read them. But this is not in fact Wendy Cope poetry. This is essays and talks and general musings on life and her own writing, and because I love Wendy Cope so much that I got a tattoo based on one of her poems, I thought it would be a really, really nice thing to read. And then the final thing that I picked up was 90 Place by Jen Hadfield. Jen Hadfield is someone I saw talk at a literary festival a couple of years ago, and was consequently the reason I asked for the Stone Age for Christmas a couple of years back. But the Stone Age was such a fantastic collection, and I'm now a great admirer of her writing. And so when I saw a very, very good condition copy of 90 Place, which was her T.S. Eliot prize-winning collection, who was I to miss it? I had to flick through this even while I was still staying with my friend, and the poetry is just as good, if not better, than in the Stone Age, so I'm absolutely thrilled to have picked up that one as well. Well, there we go. That was my lovely little second-hand and not second-hand book haul from Astley Book Farm, which is not a place that I knew existed until I was up staying with my friend, but can now very much recommend a trip to if you are in the UK and fancy just standing in rooms surrounded by insane numbers of very old, very cool books. There were so many awesome things as well that me and Matt found that we didn't end up buying because, frankly, I needed to go back on the train at some point, and the idea of carrying 10 tons of books, as pleasing as it might be at the time, really did not suit me when I had to do that journey. So yeah, very much go there, look for things that are annotated, look at the rare first editions. They have a whole antiquarian section which is just delectable to stand amongst. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope it was indeed interesting to see me go through this big stack of mostly second-hand plays and poetry books. If you did like it, please do like this video and comment down below if you know any other good bookish days out, because I've now been to Hay-on-Wye, the book village in Wales, and I've also been to the largest secondhand bookshop in the Midlands, so if there are any other equivalent experiences, you know, literary locations or just places where one can go and be incredibly bookish for a long period of time, let me know, or if you've been to any, tell me about it. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe to see when I make new ridiculous bookish content, when I next buy like 40 quid's worth of secondhand books, and yeah, I will see you next time. Listen, I'm not here because I'm smart, I'm just here because I like books. This is also my reminder to myself to get Matt to send me some pictures of that so I can include it in this video, so make the boy be useful. Penultimate things that I've got to show you is, I should actually check the titles before I hold things up.